Yeah. Howdy, 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 howdy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I am so grateful. How you guys doing tonight? How you doing tonight? Thirsty Thursdays. Who we got in the chat? Marlene. Oh, there she is. There she is. There you go.
Hello.
Uh-oh. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well. I am well. I apologize for the inconvenience about with the link and everything. Did you manage to find it all okay?
I just copied it when you sent it to me.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Well, I'm so glad you came in because I'm like, oh man, am I gonna have to do this by myself tonight again? It's all good. It's all good. But thank you for coming. I was just shouting out the chat. Per usual, guys. Thank you all. We do have a guest tonight. It's Jenny, right? Miss Jenny?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Miss Jenny, if you don't mind, just give it a brief introduction, let them know, let the folks know where to find you and what you do, what your content is all about. And it doesn't have to be a long soliloquy, just something brief, and then we can get into the show.
Okay. I'm Miss Jenny. I make Christian-oriented content about Christian fundamentalism, and you can find me here at Miss Jenny R. Jones.
Christian fundamentalism. Ooh, I like that. Whew, that is just a breath of fresh air. Wow, especially in this modern day age to hear that. Wow. So, I gather you're married, correct? Can you hear me? Hello? Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Hello. This might.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Man. 1 second. Okay, there we go. It's my mic. My mic sucks. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
All right, perfect. No, I asked. You're married, correct?
Correct.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So yeah, we got a guest tonight, and we're gonna talk about some things that lately I've kind of been, I might be rehashing to some, but I think it's important to talk about because, it's important to move the needle forward in regards to, marriage, relationships, even the interpersonal dynamics between men and women. I think this breakdown, I don't know, I see this space being convoluted. I think it's just a lot of misinformation going on out there. I think we just giving way too many people platforms, and everyone's opinion I don't even think should be rendered valuable to this discussion. But it's a free country, so everyone's got an opinion about something, but nonetheless. Uh-oh. Okay. So Miss Jenny, I'm just gonna shout out the rest of the chat and then we can get it going. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds
And
good to me.
And I do appreciate you coming on. I really do.
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure.
All right. So Andre Rose, what's happening, man? I appreciate you, brother. We got Kat in the house. I appreciate you, Kat. How you doing? And you guys, I love all you guys. Thank you so much. We got RNG Abe. What's up, Mr. Abe? We got Lee. She's going to church. That means I can't say something crazy. Hey, I think she can handle it. All right. Marlene. Everyone has an opinion, but how many of them are correct? Absolutely. I mean, your opinion can be 1 + 1 = 3, but if it's incorrect, you know what I'm saying, then it's not correct. But
right.
not all opinions are. We should lend credence to everyone. All right, so let's just pull up the first question. I had some clips, but I'm like, I want to kind of keep it more organic, more conversation oriented. So we could do the clips another time, but I want to start with this question. Well, yeah, this question here. Well, it's more of a statement slash question. And Miss Jenny, I'll let you can kick it off with what your thoughts are on this, and then I can follow up with you. So, as you can see, it's scrolling right there across the bottom. So do you think that feminism has killed marriage and the modern woman today has killed chivalry? What's your thoughts?
So to address the first part of the question, absolutely, feminism killed marriage because the entire concept. Now, a lot of feminists they lie and they say that feminism is about equality between the sexes, but that is just fundamentally not true. And so, what feminism really is about for the advancement of women,
Mm,
socially, economically, culturally, all that. And so it's meant to put women on a higher playing field than men. So of
yeah.
course it's destructive to marriage because in a proper marriage, in a marriage that is actually built to last, the man is the head, and so any woman that is successfully brainwashed into that mindset, she is going to destroy her own marriage.
Mm,
And
mm,
we are not islands. People don't live by themselves, and
right.
so when marriages start to deteriorate, and other marriages around them start to deteriorate, and so it's become a cancer in society.
Mm,
And a plague on marriage in general. And as for modern women killing chivalry, yeah, and so that plays into a part of feminism, because these modern women, they weren't created in a vacuum. They were created as a result of this feminist ideology, and
mhm,
this idea of I don't need a man, and men are a hassle, men are a burden, women are
mhm,
best left to their own devices. Um, Women are better than men. Just this idea of us being in competition with one another, when in
mhm.
reality, God made us to be complementary.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
absolutely, feminism, because I mean, in reality, because like I was saying, modern women are just a result of feminism. So, feminism not only did a number on marriage, but has also successfully killed chivalry.
Right. Wow. That. Let me go ahead and give you because I don't think I've ever heard that perspective before. Well said. Well said. Absolutely. So I kind of want to just cherry pick at some of the things you said. So you said that, and correct me if I'm wrong. So feminism initially was about equality.
That's what a lot of women today will say,
Hmm.
because they don't like it when you tell them that, oh well, I don't want to be above my husband, or I don't think that women are better than men, or if a man calls them out for being misandrous, then they'll say, whoa, I'm not misandrous, I think that women and men are equal, that's what feminism is all about, but that's not
Right.
true.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you think a woman? You think women today would want to be with their equal, or is that just some sort of cope? Is that just something that it's just part of their programming to parrot those parrot that notion?
Would women actually want to be with their equal?
Yeah. Do they really aspire to be in a relationship that's more fluid, or more of the traditional the man is the head style relationship? What do you think?
Oh, okay. Because what I was going to interpret it, what you were saying was at first was like, do women really want to be with a man that's equal to them? I thought you meant like in SMV, sexual marketplace value, because
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah,
regard, no, they don't. Women want a man who's better than them. Because a lot
oh
of
yeah.
most women are average, and women they get so disgusted and offended when you suggest that they should have an average man,
Wait
and
a
so
second. Wait. Slow down, Miss Jenny. Did you just say most women are average?
I mean that's just the way it is. That's the only way it could be, is that most women are average.
No, I totally agree. I think that today in the modern dating world, in the overall landscape, you see women with this overinflated self of self-aggrandized ego that they have, and I think it just perpetuates this delusional mindset that, hey, I'm special. There's no one like me, and therefore I am to be worshipped. I am superior to the man.
Exactly.
And I think that does them a serious disservice, especially when they're going out there and they're fielding to try to find a potential mate. And it essentially shoots them in the foot.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you spoke about this before, but with that whole Simone Biles and her husband controversy, did you talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about it, but I know about it. You can chime in on that too if you like.
Yeah, so it's just what you said about how women they'll accept nothing less than worship, and that's just a
Mhm.
fact. And it's
Yep.
like Simone Biles being this gold medal Olympian, even she had enough sense to humble herself
Right.
and go for what she wanted and pursue a man. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that I think that women should pursue. I think that women should just give choosing signals and let the man pursue because I think that's the natural order.
Oh,
But
yes.
you know, to each his own, I guess, in that regard. But
Mhm.
even she had enough sense to be humble. But a lot of these average women, like we just said, they would never, and they were so mad at her. Like, how dare you
Yeah,
just sit
yeah,
there and
yeah.
laugh as your husband says that he's the prize, and
The
as you chase him,
sisterhood came at her hard, like
they wanted her
relentlessly.
head.
Yes, they did. It was terrible. It was terrible. And it's like, look, all she's saying is this is what this is it, look, that's the big problem that I've noticed a lot with today's women is that they don't know how to practice any humility. They don't
Yes,
even know they don't know how they don't have the ability to humble themselves. And I don't, you know, and it blows me away because they'll then expect a man to adhere to his traditional roles,
hmm
i.e., be a gentleman, be a provider, be a protector, but yet in return that value is not reciprocated from a feminine standpoint. So that's what really just mind boggles me that I see what's happening here. It's like they'll demand the man to his roles are static, but she can pick and choose whether or not she'll adhere to traditional or modern standards, which blows me away.
right.
Absolutely blows me away. And that's what I think about the whole chivalry thing. It's like you hear, I don't know if you've heard recently, but you hear on the YouTube streets that a lot of women are complaining that men aren't approaching them anymore. And my thought about that is I think there's just cause why men are just kind of just refusing to pursue, because it's almost like there's no net benefit in being nuclear rejected, no net benefit in a woman just not even trying to reciprocate any sort of just being nice. Like, damn, whatever happened to just being polite? Like, if you're not interested in the guy, okay, sure, it's fine. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. But it's the way they go about it today is like this nasty, like this viciousness in their spirits, which I honestly think from a biblical standpoint, what we see happening is this Jezebel spirit that has corrupted a lot of women.
Right. I wanted to say something before we got too far away from it. Oh, yes, is that when you're talking about how the man's position has kind of stayed stagnant over the
Yeah.
years, while women are the ones that have really gone rogue.
Yeah.
I heard it said on some red pill channel where he was saying that men are taught how to treat women and not what to expect from women, while women
Mhm.
are taught what to expect from men
Expect
and
from a
not how to
man and
treat.
not how to treat a man. Yep. Woo.
And so I think that that's exactly right. And I thought it was so profound when I heard that
It
because,
is.
of
It
course, I'm a
is.
woman and I grew up and it was always, you should never let a man do this and you should never let a man do that and you should expect a man to do this. But I have three older brothers and I haven't asked them formally, but I'm almost certain that they were never, they said, well, you should never date a woman if she doesn't cook for you. You should never date a woman if she's loud and ignorant or things like that. Like the same
Yeah.
kind of way that we're kind of just trained as women to like, oh, you should never date a guy if he's broke, like,
Right.
and so
Right.
I think that that's where we get that kind of mindset from. And then to go with your later point about the Jezebel spirit, I think it's more so just the fact that women are prideful today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This idea of, where does it come from? This mentality of, I can't accept anything less than worship. It's pride. These women, they started, reading their own news clippings about how wonderful women are and about how powerful women are, and just women are just everything. And who needs men? And it's pride. You know, when it comes to the discussion of who's the prize, I say that the other person should always see the other as the prize. I see
Hmm.
my husband as the prize and he sees me as the prize. There's no one objective, for
Yeah.
everybody. It's just,
Mhm.
It's about having humility and seeing the other before yourself.
So I do want to touch a little bit, and I don't want to get too personal, but I wanted to piggyback off a point you made earlier about the head, the man being the head. Now, is there a difference in the expression the man is the head of the household versus the man is the head of the woman? Is there a difference in that? Is there a distinction in that, or are they the same?
Um, I would say that if you're going to say that the man is the head of the woman, I would just want to clarify to say that it's not that men in general are the head of women in general, but
Hmm.
that the husband is the head of his wife.
Hmm.
So, like, if I'm just out and about, like at the grocery store or something, I'm not required to respect and be obedient to just any man that I see. But I am required, and it is biblical that I should be obedient and submissive to my husband. And
Hmm.
so I think that in practicality, those terms are the same. The man is the head of the wife, the woman, or the husband is the head of the home. I think those are pretty much the same. But I
Hmm.
just think that in today's age, because women are going to twist it and say like, oh, so I'm just supposed to submit to every single man. It's like, no, but
Yeah.
you should be able to have enough context and discernment to know what we're saying. But yeah.
Right, right. Okay, I want to segue to the next part here. Let me take this comment down real quick. And you are, wow, you a breath of fresh air, Miss Jenny, because I've had some pretty wild shows where I've, haven't quite heard this perspective. So this is intriguing. Give me 1 second. All right, so the next part here is something I thought a lot about. I put a lot of thought into this because I just, with the breakdown of the nuclear family, which I've said on many shows that the families are the fundamental block of any society. That the moment we destroy the nuclear family, there's essentially nothing going to be left but chaos. No society can thrive without families, and what we're seeing is that the attack on the family, and it's more so being geared towards the man right now because the man is the protector of the family. So my question is, so why is it harder for families to stay together in the modern age? Oh, damn, I misspelled that, but yeah, the modern age. Why is it harder now for families to stay together? And even in the black family, if I'm not mistaken, the last stats I read, I think the average black family lasts like 5 years. I think it's
Oh,
like
is it?
5. Yeah, it's like the average black families last for like no more than 5 years. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why do you think it's harder now to stay for families to stay together than ever before? And we're in such such a economically prosperous society right now where we have everything essentially at our hands right now. We're more freer than our ancestors ever were. Why do you think it's harder now?
Hmm. Well, firstly, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I'm almost certain that the average for first marriages is like 8 years. So I wasn't aware that the average for Black families is only 5 years. So that's
Yeah,
surprising to me.
yeah,
Um, but it's interesting that you say that we're more prosperous than ever. We're freer than ever. So why are people walking away from marriages? Why are marriages suffering? But I would say that it's because of our prosperity and because of our freedom that marriage is suffering
right.
because the Bible speaks how suffering brings patience and trials build your character. And so
Mm-hmm.
we are in a society where it's not just my generation, because like I don't know how old you are, but we look like we're about the same age, maybe 5 years apart or such. But um, you know,
37.
oh, you're 37. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, about 10 years because I'm 25. And
Oh, okay.
so
Well, thanks for the
um,
compliment.
And so we're living in this era where where our societies and pretty much the whole world is the most peaceful it's ever been. And it's not
Yeah.
just our generation, but it's the generation before that and the generation before that. And so we have just been lulled into this false sense of security. We've been lulled into this um, just this what's the word? Like complacency,
Yeah.
and so we're bored. And so when people are bored, they act up. I'm sure your parents probably said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
There you go.
And so people aren't struggling. People aren't out working like 12 hours a day just to make it through the day, just to make it through the winter. They're not out toiling and sweating and grinding and plowing the field and feeding the animals and going out and fishing and all this stuff. Like, we're not as busy as we used to be, even
Yep.
though in an artificial sense we are, but we're not
Hmm.
really busy. Like, we're working at our 8-hour jobs, and then we're going out to dinner, and then we go home, and then we claim that we're busy, but we're really not.
Right.
And so, um, like, we're just not as productive as we used to be, and so we don't have as much struggle. We don't have as much fight in us as people back then did. And
Hmm.
so, and then another thing is that people don't have as many kids as they used to, and kids are a
Yep.
glue when it comes to a relationship,
Oh yeah.
especially marriage. And so, yeah, people are bored, and another thing, so like people are bored, people don't have as many kids as they used to. And another reason is because people have an artificial sense of, an artificially high sense of options. Like, I was just
Mm.
talking about this last night on another panel.
Paradox of choice. Yeah, the paradox of choice. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly. So you're up to speed. And so,
Hmm.
people, like, we live in an age where someone like me, I'm nobody. And I could go on Twitter and I could have LeBron James DM me, or I could have Drake DM me and fly me
Right.
out. And then now I'm think I'm the stuff. And now I
Yep.
think, oh my goodness, I'm so amazing. I'm so hot. All these guys want me. They don't. And if they want me, it's
Yep.
carnally. They don't want me to make me their
Hmm.
wife.
Yep.
And so these women, their egos go into the stratosphere, and these men, they feel less than, and they're like, well, I can't compete to Drake, so I guess I
Right.
can't have a woman. I guess I can't compete in our modern dating market. So then they retreat back into themselves, becoming incels or what have you. And
Hmm.
so it just makes for a very unrealistic playing field. And I know we're talking about people who are already married, like, why do people not stay married? But
Yeah.
married women, they still have men in their DMs. I still have exes and random guys hitting me up, and I'm like, my name is Mrs. Jenny everywhere. Like, I'm not hiding the fact that I'm married. Like, leave me
Right.
alone.
Yeah, that's not gonna repel them at all. But
And
let me ask you this real quick. Do you think there's some validity behind uh women's complaint when they say that men are not leading today? When they say that men are not good leaders, do you think there's any real validity behind that?
yeah, I absolutely think that there's validity to that. Because I believe that if a man is a good enough leader, then he could get any woman to submit to him. And
Mhm.
so I would say that, of course, it's women who have abandoned their station the most, but men could do some tightening up on their position too. A man who is not disciplined in himself, why should he expect that of his woman? If a man is not serious, he's not goal oriented, he's not purposed and driven, and he wants some woman to be that with him, I think that's kind of ridiculous.
Mm. Okay. What about the average man, guy that makes, let's say the average black man making 45,000, I think it's like $42,500 a year. Do you think that man is deserving of a wife, or should he position himself in a more financially stable um you know position, or should he expect to have a wife? Like, what do we say to the average guy out there?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that a man like that should have a wife. It there a country is made up of just average couples, of average people, living and being fruitful and multiplying, like the Bible says. And
Hmm.
so I don't know where people get this idea that you have to make six figures just to be comfortable in America. I think that's
Right.
crazy.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and
That's
so not
crazy.
only yeah, and so not only is 42,000 plenty of money to be a good husband and be respectable. But it's good enough that you could even keep your wife at home, because I believe in women staying at
Mm.
home. And so I think that, if you're wise with your money, if you're a good steward of what God gives you, then you can make that work. Of course, it
Mhm.
depends on where you live. I mean, you'll be living
Mhm.
in a box if you're trying to live in South, California. But, you can make 42,000 work in Milwaukee or something. I don't
Right.
know. But you can make it work. And so,
Mhm.
of course, a man like that, and a man could be really diligent about his work and be a
Mhm.
hard worker and be just a very a high quality man. but he just only makes 42,000. And yeah, he should be married and he should have a really great wife because that he could be a really great guy.
So this notion about leadership, this notion of leadership, is it purely subjective depending upon that woman? Like, is it for the woman to decide whether or not that man is leading her properly, or is there a objective standard you think that we should all adhere to where there's no confusion? Hey, this man is doing what he's supposed to do. He's a man of character, so on and so forth. Something that you can measure that man's leadership against, or do you think it's just purely subjective?
I'm definitely big on objectivity. I think that very, very few things in life are subjective. Especially when it comes to the family, I think that pretty much nothing is subjective in that regard.
Right.
You can definitely judge a good husband, if he's leading his family properly by what the Bible says. Um,
Hmm.
so if he is being a very good spiritual leader, if he's taking his family to church, if he's reading the Bible with his wife and with his children, if he is being a good example of, being diligent, sober, hardworking, loyal, if he is exhibiting the good qualities that are listed of what a good husband should be, then
Hmm.
absolutely, then that is the standard, and that is what every husband should strive to want to be.
Because I'm thinking about the reason why I asked that, because I'm thinking about that 80%, what is it, like 70 to 80% of women filing for divorce. And I think the number one might have been financial, or one or two. I might not have it in the proper order, but number one was financial, and then number two was irreconcilable differences. Um,
Mm,
because I think once no fault divorce came in, it kind of just opened up the floodgates for there not being any incentive for neither parties to want to stay. Basically, depending on what you may deem as you know the other person is not adhering to their roles, they're not bringing any sort of value, whatever you may subjectively deem not worthy is grounds for you to file for divorce. So I'm just trying to glean as to why that number is so high. Why do we see more women leaving marriages than ever before? And what incentive do they have to stay if they're not choosing? How can I say this? What incentive is there going to be for women to want to stay with a man if they are subjectively picking and choosing whether or not they're going to follow this man's leadership or not? I'm sorry, I know the question was kind of sporadic there, but um yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. Is like, what is the leading cause for women filing for divorce? Why is it so exponentially high today? Why do we see that?
well, I think there's a couple of reasons. So the first reason, I think the primary reason that you see that women are leaving the home more often is that women are natural followers, and
Mm,
so a man, he's gonna want to lead, and also I feel like men. Now, I don't have a Bible verse to back this up, but this is just from what I've seen. But I think that men, it's in their nature to kind of just be more comfortable and content with how things are. I think women are a little bit more mm, like they get discontented easier. Now that's just my
discontent, yeah.
opinion.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but and so I think that if a man feels like he has something kind of good going on, or if it's not terrible, he's gonna be comfortable and complacent with how it is, and he's a lot less likely to leave.
Hmm.
But yeah, women are natural followers, and so if some slick talking guy is in her DMs telling her that he can do this better and he can provide more of this for her, and she looks too good to be with that guy, and he's a loser, or whatever he's telling her, then
Right.
she is gonna follow him. And then I think that goes hand in hand with women being naturally hypergamous. Um, and that women, they just kind of they want to latch on to the best thing that they feel like they can get, because women don't
Yeah.
create. Women what's this, women don't create, they kind of just like use. That sounds kind of bad.
Extract resources.
Yeah, they extract. And so, but that's natural,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like I
yeah,
said,
yep.
women are supposed to be at home, so it's not my
Hmm.
job to to build or create the resources anyway, because I'm gonna
Right.
use them to
Damn
modify our
right.
home and raise our
Damn right.
children.
Hmm.
Um, So yeah, women are hypergamous slash natural followers. Um, and then another
So
point.
all it takes, so you're saying that, okay, so in a marriage where she's pledged her vows before God and her family,
Mhm.
and things happen to go awry, and you're saying all it takes is a moment of weakness for her to follow another man's lead because her husband is lacking and whatever. So all it takes is just another man to kind of just surreptitiously insert himself into her life in order for her to follow. So it's just, I'm trying to understand where is the burden of where's the burden of how, isn't it the onus on her to maintain her principles and uphold her vows? So why would another man even have that opportunity to sway her from her husband?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If the woman cheats, then it is more so on her than it is the other man. But the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, and so she might be going through something, and she gives into a momentary lapse in judgment or whatever. And I'm saying this, I'm not just saying that to defend women. I'm saying that men too. Men, they have indiscretions and they might cheat, but I believe that cheating is work throughable in marriage. I don't believe that should be just absolute grounds for divorce all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, but yeah, it's wrong that a woman would do that, of course. But I think that, and usually it's not like just a one time thing. Like if she does it, it's not like they had one
But no,
argument, she ran
but
off.
but Miss Jenny, don't you think it's different? Don't you think cheating is slightly different between men and women? Like sex in general is just different for men and women.
I've heard that, um,
Like,
and
do you think it's more emotionally invested for a woman to cheat versus a man, whereas it's just purely carnal. He's going out there getting his rocks off, and he's back at home and nothing's acting like nothing's really happened. Back to the same old ordinary business. I mean, wouldn't a woman have to be more emotionally invested to cheat? Generally speaking, I understand there's outliers, but just generally speaking.
yeah, I think that generally speaking, that probably is true because I've heard that on a lot of other red pill creators. Oh, I'm saying other. Would you consider yourself red pill? I don't want to put you in a box.
I definitely agree with a lot of the red pill leanings, definitely, but I'm not red pill because they can get. Hmm, uh, it- no, I wouldn't call myself red pill. I agree with a lot of the red pill sentiments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've heard that on red pill creators. They'll say that whenever a woman cheats or whenever a woman has sex, then she gets this emotional attachment. And a man could be with a woman and hope that she gets hit by a bus. I think that's a reach. Generally speaking, sure that probably is true to some general extent.
Hmm.
But I think to say that every woman who cheats is now in love with that guy, and there's never been a man who um, really developed deep feelings for his mistress, I think that that's really ridiculous. But yeah, I'm sure maybe like to some general extent, some statistical probability that women usually might have a deeper attraction to a man they cheat with.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm thinking, like, if a man takes a girl back after cheating, and she's somewhat emotionally invested in the guy that she's been with, I don't know if there I don't know if that level of respect is going to ever be restored. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm a Christian as well, so God willing, it could happen. But I think it's different because you know women are generally um women are the what do you want to call them? They're the marketers and men are the salesmen. So we have to approach women. Women merely are just have to present themselves and make themselves available. For a woman to go out her way to then step out of her marriage to cheat with said man, I think that's just I don't know. I just think that that takes a lot more out of that woman, and she has to not have that level of respect for for her husband to make that sort of indiscretion. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think it's I think it's all variables, all subjective, but there are cases, man. I think that where a man is taking a woman back after cheating and things just precipitously gone worse. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts about it. But um hold
Right.
up.
And I don't want to fall into the trap of, living in the outliers. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I would definitely
Right.
have to agree that generally speaking, that probably is true.
Hmm.
That is how it goes.
Right, right. One second here. Where's the other one here? Okay. So, what do you think about? Okay, I talk a lot about single moms too on my channel, and I get a lot of slack because of that. Um, you hear that men should step up and take on these women with children, and these women just made mistakes when they were young, and they should be given grace, and all that stuff. Do you think? I mean, do you agree with that sentiment that men should overlook these women, the mistakes these women made? And I am not by no means calling the children mistakes, but I'm just saying that they made a life altering decision to have a child with someone that they're not with. So, do you think it's incumbent upon more men to take on single mothers so that way, for the net benefit of the black community, we can all sort of I don't know, progressively move forward.
Yeah. It's interesting. I would say that I don't think that it's any man's responsibility to be with a single
Mhm,
mom. Um, but I do think that it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about you know do women want to be with men who are their equals?
mhm,
To which I said no usually because most women are average and then most men are average, and
mhm,
so I think that a single mom should probably be with a single dad, or a single mom should be with a felon or something. She should be with a guy who's like on her SMV status level. So for a single mom to think that she still qualifies for, some guy who doesn't have any children or hasn't been married before or has his life together, is steadily progressing in his goals and whatnot. Yeah, I think that that's unrealistic, and I think that that would be unfair.
yeah,
Just like you know, if I was single and I was a really top notch woman and I was really submissive and obedient and I was a great cook and a great cleaner, I wouldn't want to be with some guy who's a felon. I feel
mm,
like I would deserve better than that. Um,
right,
so I think it's
right,
just all about being realistic and being fair with yourself and with others. And it's saying like there was a time in my life when I could have qualified for that man, but
yeah,
due to my lapses in judgment, I no longer qualify for that man, and that's
right.
okay. And I'm going to try to find a man who I do qualify for, because
And
there are
that
men
is
out there.
that is a component of humility. That is making a self assessment and realigning yourself with the reality of your circumstances. And I totally agree with that. Which I don't know what it's going to take for women to reach that level of accountability, but I'll try to stay hopeful. But let me this kind of ties into what we were just saying. So do you think that women today, um, here we go. Do you think women today have a fear of being a divorcee? Excuse me. Do you think the fear of being a divorcee is more terrifying than having a child out of wedlock?
You mean for women?
Yeah, for women. Yep.
The fear of being a divorcee. Hmm. I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about that. Um,
Yeah, because like specifically in the black community, where we got what an upwards of 70% of children being born out of wedlock, 52% of black men are single and childless, and 30% of the black men are married. So it's a small minority of men that are siring the majority, the lion's share of the children. So they're obviously picking out of the same pool of men. So
yeah.
my thing is, like okay, why is it, if you're going to give a man the highest gift that you can give a man, which is sharing your womb with him, giving him a child, why not make sure you have that man's last name?
Right.
That's
Well,
my
that's the
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that they, oftentimes, they didn't intend on giving that man that high honor and prize, and so it
Oh
was a
my
test.
goodness.
So,
Yeah. Wait. You said they didn't intend on giving that. So what are you saying? So the burden wasn't on the burden. The onus wasn't on them to make sure that they were vetting properly, wear protection. Do their due diligence to not put themselves in a position to where they would end up pregnant.
oh no, it absolutely is. They
Hmm.
should have been more wise and careful with their body, but they weren't. And so the thing
Right.
is that they didn't, because like you said, being giving a man a child and allowing him access to your womb is the highest honor you can give him. But they
Exactly.
didn't intend on giving him that access. They intended on having a good time. They
Oh my
intended
god.
on, you know, being with this guy that they thought was, handsome or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so things
Yeah.
happen and they're like, oh man, now I have this baby and I don't even
Right.
really like you
Right.
like that.
So
So
let me ask you then, Miss Jenny. So do you think and we're okay. So I just need I need a or B answer. It's gonna be a binary choice, and I know this is difficult in this question I'm gonna ask you, but try your best. Do you think that it is more incumbent upon the woman to protect herself from getting pregnant, or is it more incumbent upon a man to make sure he does not impregnate the woman? Who's the
hmm,
onus on? Who is the onus on? Who is more in control of that situation?
I would definitely say that the woman has more control.
Ooh, y'all heard that?
Biologically, yeah, biologically and societally, like legally speaking.
Hmm. Hmm. So what I hear, and I've oh my god, I just had a long back and forth with somebody else I had up here, that if the man did not seduce these women, if they did not manipulate these women, they would not have found themselves in this position. Because I'm play devil's advocate. If men are the leaders, then and the women are the followers, the women are naturally going to follow what the man tells them, what the man says. So is it really their fault that they were just following suit? That's just devil's advocate, Chad. All right, that's devil's advocate.
Well, I'll take that and I'll raise you a. I thought you could do bad all by yourself. I
Oh my
thought that
god!
I thought that you were stronger than these men.
Oh god,
I
she
thought that
got
these
me
men out
wild.
here. I thought they were bozos. I thought they were clowns. I thought that women are so much smarter than them. Oh, we're so much better than them. Oh, these guys out here are idiots. They're out here moving crazy. But he successfully tricked you into getting you.
Ooh.
Like what?
I you know that is that I'm so glad you said that, because it's like the biggest oxymoron. How is it that you tout this notion that you're single, you're independent, you're loud and proud, but yet you fall victim to a pookie? Like
Right.
I don't understand that. Like it's got to be one or the other. Like what do we like? I don't understand that. It's
Right.
like,
This
are
is
you guys
why this is why you do not bash your exes. Because if you're
right?
someone and you have six
Oh my
exes
god!
and
Yes.
you can't say a single good thing about them, they're all stupid, they're all narcissists, they were all garbage, they're all beneath me. What does that say about you,
Oh
ma'am?
my gosh. Chat, chat. I didn't know she was gonna be bringing this much heat. I didn't know that, chat. I did not know that. I did not know Miss Jenny was gonna be bringing this much heat. Lord. Okay.
Someone has to
Um.
say it.
And you're saying it. And you know what? This is a non sequitur, but I heard you say on another panel on a This Might Be Risky show, and it was a controversial take. I don't think you really expounded upon it, but I had to ask you because it just caught my attention. Um, I think you guys were talking about if a woman is unruly, what sort of steps a man, what are the steps a man can take to get his woman back in line and, sort of get her back in her position and,
Oh
check her.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you said something. I think you might have alluded to corporal punishment not being off the table. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Hot take.
Yes. Yes. So like that question kind of caught me off guard because I've never really fully flushed out my opinion on that. And so
Okay. Okay.
um
Well, do your
but
best. You don't have to. You don't have to expound it, whatever to the extent of how much you've thought about it. You don't have to go too deep into it.
well, I'll give you what I've come up with so far.
Okay.
And so what I would say to that is that in the Bible, corporal punishment is totally justified when it comes to children and when it comes to criminals. Because
Mm,
the Bible says that the rod of correction will drive foolishness from the child, and in Leviticus it talks about crimes and proper punishments for crimes and certain things. You just get a beating for and you go on your way. I don't believe in jail. I don't believe in putting people in cages like animals. And so I believe that that's a justifiable punishment for certain things. And
mm,
so when he asked me that question about what do you really have to do to get your wife in check if she is so unruly? So that's why I said, well, you know, maybe putting your hands on her is not totally off the table. Um, Now, I believe that the same kind of guidelines go in it. Like, if your child is disobeying, you're not going to give your child a black eye, of course.
yeah.
And so if
Right.
your wife is disobeying, you're not going to give her a black eye either. But,
Right.
you might want to yoke her up and say,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing? And, tell
Mm-hmm.
her to put some act right in her or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
so that's just where I was going because I was like, well, I think that people they're afraid to even suggest that as like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it that could never even be an option. But these
Right.
are coming from the same people who couldn't even logically define what a woman is to you, and so their
Right.
opinions don't matter. And
Yep.
so I'm like, I'm not saying that should be the first course of action, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, to say that it's not on the table at all, I can't go there either. So I think that it's possible that that could be justified.
Y'all heard it first, chat. So let me. So, cause listen. No, cause I mean, I think there's some. I think so, there's some degree of truth to what you're saying. I mean, look, the Bible even says, better to live on a rooftop than to share a home with a quarrelsome wife.
That's right.
So, what do you want to do when a man is trying to attain a peaceful household? What else can you do? Because look, according to the numbers, according to the statistics, men are not leaving the marriages. And granted, it might be because we are complacent. We do want to kind of maintain the routine, the status quo. But also, I think men have the tendency of looking at the bigger picture, and we want to maintain our household to the best ability within our control. So, if your wife is getting out of character, you know what I'm saying, and and you've tried everything possible to sort of quell that anger and and she's not listening, maybe every now and then we can say, I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating abuse, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, don't get it misconstrued. I'm not, and neither is Miss Jenny here. We're just saying that the worst case scenario, or this may be something I think that we should probably have a discussion further about. Honestly, I really do, because if you look at our society today and look at the policy prescriptions that women tend to vote for and things like that, it's more so mollycoddling. Everything is just mollycoddled now. We're just taking discipline and structure away from our society, and now it's just, oh yeah, free range, do what you want, do what you feel, do what thy wilt. And I
Right.
think it's leading to a nihilistic society where the lines between order and chaos are being blurred. And the only way we can institute order and chaos is if there is a sort of an incentive. And if sometimes that incentive is discipline, then that's so be it. I mean,
Right.
this is what I think.
And another thing to add to that is that I've seen videos online where like a woman, she's constantly antagonizing a man, she's in his face, she's
Mm,
pushing him, she might throw a drink on him, and all he'll do is like shove her real hard, or he might slap
right,
her, and then all of a
right.
sudden you see like four guys come from out of frame to attack him and set him straight, and it's like, where's the accountability? And it's like,
Hmm.
I would never put my hands on a strange man, out in public. I would never get in some another man, a grown man's face,
Right.
because I don't know what's going to happen. Because even if my husband is with me, why would I want to put him in a scenario where he needs to fight? And what if that guy has a gun? What if he has a knife? What if he's a black belt in jujitsu? I don't want to. I don't want to fight.
Right.
And
No, you're
so
smart. It's wise.
yeah, and so women are in this society where they are free from their consequence, free from they're free from
Hmm.
their consequences.
Yep.
And so, a woman could literally punch a guy in the face and he's just supposed to sit there and take it. And, turn the other cheek is biblical, but we're not living in a biblical society. We're not living in a society
Mhm.
full of, Thomases and Pauls. Okay. We're living in a
Right.
society full of carnal people who are fleshly. And to expect a
Mhm.
man to never retaliate against a woman just because she's a woman, when at the same time we're living in a society that says that men and women are equal. Okay,
Right.
if you believe in equal rights, then you believe in equal less.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Listen, chat. I didn't know. Okay, I did not know. I had no clue. Um, Jesus. Give me 1 second. Pull up my next point here. So what? So what do you? Let me see. So what do you see the future of? What do you see the future of our society going? I mean, do you think that it's going to like the marriage rates are going to continuously decline? Do you think the gap between men and women is going to continue to widen? Do you think that the conversation between men and women is going to continue to be contentious, cantankerous, and there's not going to be any sort of bridging of that gap? Or do you see? Are you hopeful? Or do you try to remain hopeful and optimistic that we're going to get this thing back in order? Women will fall in line ultimately, and or do the men have to make some sort of modification in our leadership? What do you see? Like, what's your vision?
I'm very optimistic. I'm naturally a very optimistic person. So, but also I feel like I'm living in reality, and I do feel like people have just become so disgusted with the results that they're getting from this modern way of doing things, this feminist based way of doing things, that the pendulum is really getting wound up to make a humongous swing back. Um, and so, yeah, I think that, just in general, that, we live in a world that just naturally leans more towards reason and logic, and we're kind of, just going to get back to that at some point. But also, I just feel like from what we see online, like the men are fed up and a lot of women are fed up. A lot of
Right.
young women, my age and a little bit younger, they're like, so let me get this straight. We had it to where we were staying at home and all we
Oh,
had to do was make cookies and do puzzles with our kids, and we decided
right.
to trade that in for cubicles and for rush hour traffic. Why did we do that again? And I just feel
Doesn't
like there's
make
like,
any sense.
and you can just see online this organic growth of women kind of like turning away from that, and like, maybe I
Mhm.
don't want to be a boss babe my whole life. Maybe I don't want to do everything that turns a man away from me. I just
Exactly.
think that, the tide is turning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you too. I tend to be more optimistic. I may come off as cynical at times, but it's just because the facts are what they are. The reality is what it is. So, you know, y- I'm human, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes it just sucks. Just sucks observing where we are today in society because you can see the hollowing out of people's souls. You can just see it in their eyes. People are not happy. I mean, 1 in 4 women is on some sort of psychotropic medication.
Right.
um you know according to the stats, according to the studies, women derive happiness and fulfillment from children and family. And to see this brigade of women marching towards their demise, it's just distressing at times. It's like, why are you self-sabotaging yourself? This is going to ultimately hurt you in the end. So I may get caught up in just the throes of everything at times, ladies and gentlemen, but I do remain hopeful, I do remain optimistic, because you have to be. It's what I think.
Now, are you
um
married?
yes, I am married.
Oh,
I
okay. So
am
yeah.
married.
And do you have any children yet?
Yeah, well, I have two, one biological and other my stepdaughter. So
Oh,
yes.
okay. So
Hmm.
yeah, and so I just think that when it comes to these conversations, like how like we can talk about what the problems are all day long, and we can go back and forth and just have these think tanks. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, what are we doing on the ground to make things better? And I
Right.
think that for one, we can't buy into the lie that
Hmm.
they want to feed us, which is that we're at odds with each other, and so we have to get married and we have to have kids, to get those numbers up because we're not fulfilling their rate of replacement.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so you're leading by example. You're married and you have kids, and so that's all we really can do.
Let me ask you, Miss Jenny, what and I think I'm pretty much said, we kind of went through everything, all the questions, and I really appreciate you for that. But I do kind of want to ask you, what drew you to this space? Like, what compelled you to want to speak about some of these issues?
Well, I do a lot of talking about relationships, and intersexual dynamics, but
Hmm.
that's not really my bread and butter. Like I was saying at the beginning, I'm also just focused on like Christian topics, and
Gotcha.
so I got into the space of being a content creator because I saw a major need and a gap in the market where it comes to young women, speaking sensibly and speaking, in a Christian way, when it comes
Hmm.
to, especially being, a young Black woman too. I think that that's important.
Yeah.
And so like when I think of people like me, only people that really come to mind are like either Candace Owens or Ally Beth Stuckey. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
Hmm.
it's slim. Who are the young Black women today who are role models and examples for other the women coming behind them, and
Have,
it's actually really difficult to think of. And
have you ever been called a pick me?
yes,
What do
I
you
have.
think about that term? What do you think about that stupid term?
It's funny, it's like the term. I see it as well, obviously, so it started as a pejorative for women like
Right.
me who
Hmm.
are traditional in their mindset and believe in traditional gender roles. But we've kind of taken it like the term Yankee. Like the term
Right.
Yankee now, it's a term of endearment, and
Hmm.
there's literal sports teams named after it. But in the beginning, Yankee was seen as it was meant to be an insult to the new Americans from the British.
Mm.
But they took it and they flipped it on its head, and now it's nothing. You call someone a Yankee, they don't even really know what you mean. But it turned into a term of endearment, and so the bitter, can't get along with women out there wanted to make this insult to women like me. Oh, you're a pick me,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah,
Dang.
I'm a pick me, and I got chosen. So
There you go.
who gets the last laugh at the end of the day?
There you go. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight, Miss Jenny. I am so thankful that you came on and you spread your wisdom and shared some of your perspectives on all this stuff. And golly, man, like I said, this is a breath of fresh air because you rarely will see a woman speaking in this manner, in this Christian oriented base uh 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 perspective. Like it's just like you are rare. You are a rare
Right.
commodity out here, and I'm glad that you've capitalized on that market, because I think there's lots of opportunity there for more women like yourself to come out and start speaking the truth. And I really appreciate you. God bless you and your family. And I hope that we can definitely have you back on. The chat loves you. I love having you here, and of course, with the permission of your husband, which I respect, and I'm glad you, man. Just hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Um, Listen, I'm sorry, but I appreciate you coming on. Chat. Oh, go ahead and shout out your plugs and all that, where they can find you.
Oh, well, this has really been a pleasure. And honestly, just between you and me, I am glad that this is not going on for 5 hours. Okay. Um,
I know,
no
right?
shade. I personally, I don't like sitting down for 5 hours straight. I like to do my streams like for an hour or two,
I
and so
understand.
you have a much higher chance of having me back. So, there's
Nice.
that. But
Dope.
yeah, you can find me here. This is probably where I do the most of my posting. I'm really trying to hustle and, get more content out there. So I was in a slope where I wasn't really posting as much, but
Yeah.
I'm here on YouTube as Miss Ginny R. Jones. That's where you can find me. I talk a little bit about stuff like this on my channel, but mostly just about like Christian things. Like tomorrow, I'm doing a stream on the age of the earth, so
Oh,
totally in the
nice.
wheelhouse. Um,
Nice, nice. Might see me in the chat. Might see me in the chat. Oh, well, do I have to work tomorrow? Yeah, yeah, I might be in the chat. What time do you go live?
I go live at 8 p.m.
Oh, 8 p.m. Yeah, you
Yeah,
might
Eastern
see me up
Standard.
in there. I come in and show some love. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure having you, and God willing, we'll have you back. Bless you and your family. And yeah, chat. Make sure you guys have like the video. Make sure you are subscribed. All that good stuff. Really appreciate you guys for coming on in. No, we didn't have JP or Miss Desi DC on tonight, but I'm sure they'll be on, probably sometime next week. But I do appreciate you guys. Oh, Marlene said I'm going to find her. What she say? Going to search her channel right after this live for sure. All right, there you go. Make sure you subscribe to her channel too, Miss Marlene. Oh, there it is. All right, she
Yeah.
put it in the chat for you guys. There you go. All right, well, Miss Jenny, it's been a pleasure, and you have a wonderful, wonderful night, and happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate you allowing me to come up here and speak on your platform.
Thank you, guys. All right, y'all know. Have a good night, y'all. Peace.